Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of the Homes Real Estate Podcast. Today we are talking about February's market stats. Stay tuned. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Homes Real Estate Podcast. This is Peter Toering.
And this is Chris Vanbelle.
And as you know, we're realtors here in the southeastern Michigan area. And as normal, we do a monthly market report. So we're looking, just so everybody knows, we run as a baseline. We run Macomb County. And then as a an example for northern Macomb, we use Macomb Township as an example there. So those are the stats we're going to be talking about. So we are starting off pretty strong spring market here, Chris, to start off March.
Looks like it's starting a little bit early. I think we talked about it in different podcasts and videos we've done. But it looks like the spring market actually started in January.
Yeah, and we were a little bit slow there for a bit. Now that being said, not a ton of new listings statistically, but the one thing that we are noticing is inventory as a whole is bumping up just a little bit. And also it feels like spring is here. Houses that are priced right are going quickly. They're going pending quickly. Of course, still the houses that are maybe not priced so well still staying on the market a little bit longer.
Yeah, if you look at 2019 so far, there's 1,010 new listings, which is super, super cool for us. But like you said, that's the important thing. They have to be priced right.
Mm-hmm.
And
they have to show well.
Buyers are super savvy, and they know if you could be $1,000 off, and people are taking a look at the house right now.
And we are seeing actually quite a bit of that, of where we're seeing, hey, listen, buyers are a lot of showings, but maybe you're not seeing the offers that you might want. And we've seen this kind of market has been going on since July, and we've talked about it in quite a few of our past market updates. I think the one thing that we're seeing now is a relief in the inventory. We really have not seen here, the market slowed down and it kind of stagnated, and there wasn't any fresh inventory to help things pick up. Now we're seeing a little bit of inventory come on the market. Buyers, I think too, this is not particularly statistical, more anecdotal. I think buyer confidence is up a little bit. I think buyers are feeling a little bit better about the market.
Well, look, they have to be gun shy because everything we said, look, if we look at houses now, we have to make an offer. We have to write over asking price. We have to. You
don't have time to sleep on it or anything like that.
So now, with that kind of slowdown, it's got them a little bit more comfortable as a buyer to say, hey, well, maybe we can ask for concessions. Maybe we can get that home warranty included, and we don't have to get so crazy and go over value and bring more money out of pocket. So it's a little bit more comforting to the buyer.
I'm closing a VA loan that he shouldn't be bringing any money to the table. We got some concessions, got some things covered there. So we're seeing a little bit of that where we're seeing those concessions, seeing offers that, especially on houses that have been on the market a little bit longer, seeing those offers that are maybe a little bit undervalued. And again, too, some of these buyers jumped out of the market and now are jumping back in.
And we've seen that with the Mishra loans, too, and some of the RD loans, where we have buyers, once they put the earnest money deposit down, in some cases they actually get that back. Mm-hmm. I have seen that on rare occasions. But bringing almost nothing down, I think some of the Mishra products, you're responsible for 1% of the total loan.
Now, as we've talked about before, about people who are worried about us going into another 2008, the one thing I would like to note about these Mishra loans is they have some pretty stringent requirements. I'm just closing one up next week. A lot of digging, a lot of making sure these folks are qualified. So this is not 08 where we were giving away free money on some kind of subprime program. This is where they're doing their due diligence and doing their homework and asking for a lot of proof, income verification, all sorts of things that extra steps. Not that income verification is extra step, but extra verification.
Income's the least of the worries in a lot of cases. Sometimes they want to know who's all going to be living in the house on some of these loan programs. I've seen the underwriters actually go onto Facebook and see what's going on. I mean, everybody puts their life out there. If you're saying one person lives in the home and is going to live in the home, and say somebody's engaged, that insinuates it may not be just one person in the home, and they're turning these loans down.
So that's an interesting point. What we're seeing, normally only the loan applicant has to meet the qualifications. Now, in the case of these Mishra loans, you do have to have any adult who lives in the home, whether they are on the mortgage, whether on the title, if they live in the home, they've got to meet the credit qualifications. So that is another step. So I'm not too worried about any of this. And again, back to our stats here, we are still seeing, and now this is what we were wondering about when we said, hey, what's going to happen to the market? Is it just going to slow down a little bit. If you look average sale price, we are still kind of upticking just very, very slightly. If you look at your median sales price, it's up quite a bit from last year. If you're looking at your average sale price, it's basically stagnated. And I think that's what we're going to see. We saw with the interest rates going up, prices just could not continue to go up. And I think that's going to bring us into hopefully an era of stability here.
Well, we keep talking about, when's the next downturn, downturn, and we've both heard local economists and national economists. Right now, they don't know. They were predicting 2018, never came. 2019, so far all the signs and indicators look like it's not coming in 2019. From what I've been hearing nationally, there may be a bit of a downturn in 2021, but that's only because they don't know. They don't know that far out.
Well, and again, we're talking about we're talking about some kind of recession. Now, that being said, that does not necessarily mean that we're going to see housing prices dip. And this is what we've talked about in previous podcasts on just because economic growth slows, if you don't have that perfect storm of factors that we had last time, we may not see housing. And statistically speaking, in 4 of the last recession, housing prices have not been affected at all.
True.
So, we may see less transactions. That's possible. But chief economist over at NAR thinks that we're basically going to have a similar year that we had in 2017. And we've talked about this on the podcast before. And the numbers show it. Now, the one thing that you are going to want to pay attention to, again, our median days on market versus our average. Average in Macomb is 59. Your median is 36. I think that is being really bumped up by some of these houses that are staying on the market for 90, 100, 120 days.
That goes back to the pricing and how savvy the buyers are. That's keeping the homes on the market even longer, and we're going to see that go up a little bit. So there's still houses out there that are going in 1 to 3 days, and there's quite a few out there now over 100, 120 days on the market.
Mm-hmm. And you can see that too. It's up between. If you look at average, it's up 30% from last year. Median's up 50% from last year. Now, part of that too is, this is the same discussion that we have, because one of the things we want to do is not only give you the numbers, we also want to give you what the numbers mean. If you look, just like when we talk about interest rates, yes, they have gone up a little bit. They're at 4.65 is for this week.
What day?
Yeah, interest rates are jumping around quite a bit. But if you look historically, Carter administration, you're having 17, 18%. 2001, you're having 8, 9, 10, 11%. So yes, these are up. And again, we're going to use the analogy of if you were driving at 90 miles an hour and now you're only going 70, you're still going 70 miles an hour. Just to give you a heads up, at the even in our really great real estate selling market in 2006, our average days on the market was 83. So we're still, even though days on market has jumped up, they're still pretty low comparatively.
Big time.
So one last thing to take a look at on, as we've said before, percentage of list price still staying high. Of course, we're not seeing offers until those prices are correct. But it goes back to, again, making sure the house is priced right and shows well. And that is, make sure that you guys too, home sellers, if you are listed right now, go take a look at your listing on the internet. Make sure it looks good. Make sure your pictures look good. Make sure your information's presented correctly. Make sure you've got a nice description. As the inventory increases, you are going to have some more competition.
Absolutely,
you have to stand out.
I'm looking at the condo market right now too, man. That's pretty strong. Mm-hmm. It really is. I mean, we're getting a few more listings there, and their inventory is still a little bit low.
Yeah. And we should continue to see that. So, all right, if you have any questions about how the market is working, feel free to reach out. We'd love to talk to you. Again, follow the podcast on Facebook at myself, Peter Toering, Realtor, Chris Vanbelle, Realtor. Follow us to Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes, anywhere else you get your podcasts. Thanks so much, guys, for listening and for watching. We are now on YouTube with actual video.
Nice.
And we'll see you next time.
Take care.